Hello, everybody. Hey, this is Chris Duffield at Newline Mortgage. Before we get started, can I get everyone to make sure your doors are shut and your other devices are turned off? I'm going to cover quite a bit of information in a short period of time, so I need your full attention. Also, everyone on this call will receive a copy of the training after the material, will receive a copy of this training and the material at the end of the broadcast. Again, my name is Chris Duffield, and I'm an account executive for Newline Mortgage. This class is a part of a series of classes designed for loan officers that are either new to VA purchase loans or just need a refresher. For about the next 15 minutes, we're going to talk about assets. We're going to cover VA down payment requirements, reserve requirements, and documentation requirements. Also, before we get started, I'd like to take a moment and ask for your business. As an AE, I'm paid commission, so the best compliment you can give me is to send me a loan. If you find this training useful and learn something new, please send me a loan on any product. Newline does offer some great FHA, VA, conventional, and USDA pricing right now. I also have many other trainings available on all of these products, so please don't hesitate to contact me. All right, let's get started. So assets required, cash required to close. The veteran or spouse must have sufficient cash to cover any closing costs or points that are the veteran's responsibility and are not paid by the seller, and the difference between the sales price and loan amount if the sales price exceeds the reasonable value established by VA. Verify all liquid assets owned by the veteran or spouse to the extent they are needed to close and/or those that may have a bearing on the overall credit analysis. So basically what that piece is saying, if the borrower does need to come in with closing costs that the seller's not paying, of course the borrower needs to pay that. If we happen to get an appraisal that does not support the value and the veteran would like to continue with the loan, they can actually pay the difference between the sales price and the value. And then if you're using reserves, not reserves, but if you've used assets in your LP approval, so if you put $5,000 in assets in your LP approval, you have to document them. So the thing to do is perhaps use 0 assets in your LP approval if you don't need any to close, if the seller's covering everything. And then at that point, you don't need to verify any assets. But any that you use for an LP or a DU approval, you're going to have to verify. Cash reserves, there's none required for VA loans, and also a down payment is not necessarily required on a VA loan as well if your loan amount is below the high balance limit listed here in this training. If we are documenting assets, we do need 2 months bank statements. We need a full 2 months bank statements, all pages. You cannot have incomplete bank statements. We can't use a VOD. You can use a computer printout from your borrower if they want to provide us one of those. If they do generate a computer printout for us, then we do need to be able to tell it's from the borrower and from the borrower's account. So it has to have the account number on there and the name of the bank and everything. Okay. Now, if there is a down payment required, then it has to come from the borrower's own funds. So VA does require that down payment come from the borrower's own funds. If you need to, if the borrower doesn't have sufficient funds to close and you need a gift, you can use a gift, but you're going, that can only be applied towards closing costs or reserves. Down payment has to come from the borrower's account. If you're using a gift, you're going to need to provide a copy of the gift letter. And then the easiest way to document the transfer of the gift funds is to get a copy of the cashier's check to title. And that cashier's check definitely needs to come from the donor's account. And then if you're using a business account, please know a business account. You cannot use that for down payment either. You can use it for closing costs or reserves. but not for a down payment. What you're going to need to document is that all funds are seasoned, and you'll need to provide 2 months bank statements. Or you can provide 3 months bank statements. Okay, if you provide 2 months bank statements, then we need a cash flow analysis. If you provide 3 months bank statements, then we do not need a cash flow analysis. You also need to provide documentation that contains evidence the borrower has full use of the business funds and there's no required repayment. And you also must provide evidence that the funds are not an advancement against future earnings or future cash distributions. So assets are pretty simple, guys. We're not usually verifying a lot of assets on a VA loan when we're working within the conforming loan limits or the non-high balance. So typically, we're not worrying about a down payment, and your seller is covering most or all of your closing costs, or a lender credit is covering most or all of the closing costs. So really, if you're not needing assets to, if the borrower is needing nothing for closing, then start out with 0 assets, run your DULP. If you're not getting an approval, then you can add assets to see if that helps with the approval. And that's it. That's really all I have to say about VA purchase loans and assets. So I do thank you for your time. Again, my name is Chris Duffield. Please contact me if you have any questions. Thank you.